We have a lot to cover. That was a really long story.
I was upside down, guys.
I saw. All right. Good morning, everyone. All right, so this morning is a really special Sunday called Palm Sunday. And on Palm Sunday, we're celebrating Jesus we're waving palms. There are people that put coats down on the road for a parade for the one and only Jesus. And when we celebrate things, I don't know about you, but when we celebrate things, I really like sometimes to have cupcakes. Do you guys like cupcakes? Yeah? What's your favorite kind of cupcake? Do you have a favorite cupcake flavor?
My favorite skull.
You like a big one?
Vanilla.
Vanilla cupcake? Yeah. Chocolate peanut butter cupcakes. Now, with sprinkles, vanilla. Yeah. So I think we all like cupcakes, right? Well, it just so happens on this very special Sunday, if you all wait right here, I happen to have a basket full of cupcakes for us to have this morning. So I'll be right back. Who's excited for some cupcakes? Yeah, you're all excited for some cupcakes?
I want to eat one right now.
You want to eat it right now? Well, we might have to wait a little bit. But we're
Already.
all really excited about these cupcakes, right? All right, come on and take a look at our cupcakes.
Those aren't real cupcakes.
They're not real. It's a basket full of cupcakes.
They're not real
Little
cupcakes.
paper cupcakes.
They're not real cupcakes.
They're not real cupcakes? So let me ask you this. How are you feeling right now?
My pink.
You got a pink one. Are you feeling a little disappointed? Did you think these were going to be real cupcakes?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, how about we put the paper cupcakes back for me? And so this morning, I want to talk to you. I want you to remember how you felt just now, okay? That's okay. So I want you to remember how you felt because you thought that the cupcakes were going to be different than they ended up being, right? Now, there's a big word for that called expectations. Can you say that? Expectations. So an expectation is when we think something is going to be a certain way, and then sometimes our expectations are met where they do end up being the same, and then there are other times where expectations aren't met and things are way different than we thought they were going to be. And that happens a lot in our gospel story today. So the first thing is, our first thing that happens is that Jesus is riding through this big city of Jerusalem on a donkey. And it's it turns into a donkey. It's all gone?
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, actually, so the donkey's not gone yet. But Jesus is riding in on this donkey, and it turns into this huge parade. People just keep coming and coming and coming, and it turns into this huge celebration. People are shouting, Hosanna, Hosanna! And they're welcoming Jesus into the city as if Jesus were a king. So the people of this city, Jerusalem, they think after this big parade that Jesus is some special kind of king or Messiah that's going to free them from the people who are in control of their city that they don't really like. They don't like the Romans being in their city, and they want to be free of the Romans. And so they think Jesus has come to lead them to freedom. But Jesus, we know now, is not that kind of a king. Jesus is a different kind of king. So it's kind of like for the people of Jerusalem in that city, they thought that they were getting a basket full of cupcakes that they could eat. And it turns out that they were just paper cupcakes. And so you know how you felt when you saw the paper cupcakes? Not so happy, right? A little sad, a little frustrated, a little mad maybe even. Well, the people of Jerusalem felt the same way. They were mad. They were angry. They were frustrated because their expectations about who Jesus was weren't met. Jesus turned out to be somebody incredibly different, and we now know even better than what they thought it was going to be. And so that leads us into the second thing. Ooh, a leaf, thank you. From a poem. So the second thing that leads us into in our story is an example of Jesus and the 12 disciples. Now, Jesus' 12 disciples were his best friends, right? Yeah. Do you guys have any friends? Yeah. You have friends? Now, if one of your friends is in trouble or is hurt, are you going to go and help them? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? The 12 disciples thought the exact same thing. Their expectation was that they were going to be able to help Jesus if Jesus was ever in trouble. But you know what happened in our story? Jesus gets arrested by some soldiers, and you know what the disciples do? They run away. Some disciples run away. Some disciples lose their clothes, and they're running around naked. There are other disciples that even pretend not to know who Jesus is because they were so scared. So they thought, their expectations were, they thought that they would be there to help their friend. But it turns out that in our story today, they weren't able to be there to help their friend. So how do you think Jesus might have felt if his friends all kind of abandoned and left him? Sad? Maybe kind of like how you felt when you thought you were going to get a basket full of cupcakes, and those cupcakes ended up being paper cupcakes? Yeah, maybe. And so they are printed, you're right. And so that leads us into the third example in our story today, but this one's a little bit different. Because Jesus in our story today dies on a cross. Now, when somebody dies, we're used to them kind of staying dead, right? Like, so our expectation is when somebody dies that they stay that way. But Jesus, this is where it's different. It's kind of like everybody was expecting a basket full of paper cupcakes. But then Jesus goes and rises from the dead. And instead of having paper cupcakes, all of a sudden, they're real cupcakes for everybody. Yeah, not these ones. But when Jesus rises from the dead, it's kind of like these fake cupcakes become real cupcakes. And so the expectation was that Jesus was going to stay dead like these paper cupcakes. No, let's leave those there for me, Sally. And then Jesus turned them into, like, Jesus rose from the dead, and it kind of became like a real cupcake that everybody could have. And so the expectations were changed. What people thought was going to happen didn't happen, but at this time, it was in a good way. And so that's a lot of different things that happen in our story today, where we think something's going to happen one way, but then it happens a different way. And that happens all throughout the Bible, where we think one thing's going to happen, but then God does something amazing, and it changes a little bit. So, right now, I'd love for you to repeat after me in prayer and invite the congregation to join as well. Dear God, thank you for Jesus. And for surprising us. And our expectations. By showing us that God's love wins. No matter what. Please help us to share that same love with everyone we meet. We love you. Amen. All right. Thanks for coming up, everybody.